no!
You're listening to On the Pole Podcast with your pole sitter, Earl.
Hook to it and just jerk it off.
And outside front row, Derek Carboletti.
That is shoving the hot dog in the bun right there.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. It's a bad day to be a hot dog, that's for sure. It's the On the Pole Podcast. I'm the host, Earl. I'm joined by my co-host, Derek, and a very special co-host this week, preparing for his main gig next week, Cory. So, our old childhood friend Cory here.
Green flags in the air.
Hello.
Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys!
Yeah, we don't get a chance to catch up with Cory that much, so this is really exciting. This is going to be the my favorite episode already. So, how's it going,
Super
Cory?
stoked to be here. Oh, it's going good. It's going good. Thank you for the invite. I'm sorry you're being suspended next week, but, hope you have a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not surprised by anything. Yeah. We'll take it and we'll move on, in the next week. All the guys and girls back at the shop.
Darling.
Yeah, Derek's in here drinking Ross Light, making the sound clips happen. How's it going, Derek?
Oh, it's going good. I got to watch one of the most unique and exciting Bristol races I've seen in quite some time. And they didn't even need, they didn't even need a gimmick to do it, but I guess they kind of did. We had 5 cars on the lead lap, and Denny Hamlin won the race. But yet the race was surprisingly awesome. I was telling you guys before the show started that if that was the headline before the race started, I probably wouldn't have even watched the race. But I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know, the other thing that, I mentioned, the NASCAR 98 intro comes to mind. It's that whole, I could go faster than you, and I can prove it. But should I?
Yeah, tell somebody 20 years ago that tire wear was a gimmick. That was a wild race.
Mm-hmm.
You could see the rubber piling up in the corners. They always show those clips of Craven Busch at Darlington, and that's the thing you notice the most is this big fluffy pile of rubber built up in the corners. That was one of the most iconic things about that race yesterday. All that tire fall off.
And the wild thing was, it didn't even take long for that to happen. It happened 30 laps. There's mounds of tire rubber.
Yeah,
And then big strings of it too. It just unwound and just threw itself up the track.
Mm.
Yeah, it was insane. And the more time that passes, and it's only been 24 hours, but the consensus I'm seeing is that it was fucking people loved it. For instance, I'm a huge DW fan, and the Boogity came back. It brought a tear to my eye having
Green
DW
flags in
do
the air.
that.
Boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys!
Yeah, I was going to be satisfied no matter what once they got DW on there.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't even DW, right? Wasn't it Clint?
Oh, did Clint do a Boogity this year? Did I miss the whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. No, DW did a pre-race interview, and he gave a little one of those hype videos, and he was like, Bristol's awesome and Bristol's hard, and I won there 12 times.
Didn't Clint Boyer do it at the beginning of the race?
I must have missed that.
Cory?
I was on the radio. I was on my way to my dad's to watch it, so I missed the first 15 or so laps on TV.
So we don't know.
Rusty Wallace did not do it on the radio, though.
So I'll be completely transparent. I didn't see it either, but
welcome to this NASCAR podcast where none of us watched the beginning.
Oh, we're the On the Pole podcast. We all watch qualifying, right?
No, but I didn't even know it was on. But no, I did see going to a commercial break. They do those stupid montages of the first half of the first stage, and somebody that sounded a lot like Clint Boyer said boogity boogity boogity, and then I instantly went to my notepad and said boogity boogity boogity's back with no research.
Okay, well, I can assure you that immediately after this I'll go to YouTube and I'll find out. But that's tough to have to sit here and admit we all kind of, well, I mean, you watched on the radio, you know, but yeah, missed the green flag of the.
That's the road on the radio.
You know?
Well,
Rusty doing Boogity, that would have been good though. Things
I mean,
you don't
Clint
know you
Boyer,
needed.
if any commentator or any person really that could take over boogity 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 and not sound ridiculous doing it, it's Clint Boyer.
Yeah, I agree. I thought
He
he
has
would.
DW. He has DW energy, just not DW numbers.
Yeah.
Or like dementia.
You can call it dementia, but DW, you mentioned it earlier. DW called some of the most iconic moments. Like
Did.
it all worked out in the end. The math always checked out. He just went there in a weird way.
So before we get into serious talk, I'm going to ask you this if it's one of your favorite Jeff Gordon moments, Cory. Because I think it is, because you've referenced it numerous times. And I told people, like, this is one of Cory's favorite Jeff Gordon. I told Earl, this is one of Cory's favorite Jeff Gordon moments of all time. And then I said, actually, I don't even know that, but we're going to ask you. So the Stanley Steamer came up in reference today.
Oh, yeah.
And does that qualify as one of your favorite Jeff Gordon moments?
It has to be. It's that was a moment where I can't remember if it was like 20, 30 laps. It felt like an eternity though, where like that car was just like pumping out steam and it just did not seem like it was going to make it. And I think, like you mentioned, the bump and runs on one of the last episodes, that was up there too, which by the way was only like a 30 race winless drought.
Oh, really?
Not a 50.
I think I said
Yeah.
58.
You gotta remember, he won the championship the year before.
Felt
Like
an
it wasn't
eternity.
long. It was, yeah, for Gordon at the time it was for sure.
Yeah.
But the Stanley Steamer one is one that it does kind of fade from memory from time to time, but it was an incredible moment to watch on TV. And when, what was it, like 2007? Yeah, because it's the COT, right? Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah,
It was that weird year. It was that weird year where they ran both cars. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was 2007 because that was when the Gordon got like the flames in front of the wheel well, and that old car looked amazing with it. And it was a shame it only got to run like 26 races because that was like the coolest main team. Yeah, no, it was awesome, and you would be right to say that's one of my favorite Gordon moments.
I need a
I might
soundtrack.
not remember that moment at all without DW.
Yeah. that circles back to good thing we have Earl here. Yeah.
Yep.
That circles back to like Darrell Waltrip calling some of the most iconic races. That race probably would have been forgettable without that commentary.
Yeah, like I don't think the win was much of an issue. Like it might have been like relatively close, but the issue was whether or not Gordon's engine was even going to make it.
Yeah. Yeah, the secondary race was Denny had put on tires and most of the field stayed out. And that's where it came up in the first place when we were talking about it was Denny just drove down on the apron because he had 30 lap fresher tires at Darlington as everybody and passed 9, 10 cars in a corner, but he never didn't have enough time and Gordon's engine held on. I just remember DW being like, the Stanley Steamer's gonna do it. It's gonna hold on. He believed the whole time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys are into it, and we haven't really even planned this, but do you guys want to do an impromptu top 5 of greatest calls to ending of races?
Oh yeah. I'm prepared for that.
Okay. I think I have a few. I'm sure that you guys would both pull them, but I'm definitely interested in participating.
Okay. Who's gonna do number 5? We'll just wing it. We'll just take turns.
Yeah.
And then I'll decide on number 1 if it hasn't been chosen.
Do we want to do it as like a 5-1, or do we want to pick 5 and then just rate them?
Let's go 5-1. Let's just wing it.
Yeah.
And it's a 5-time champion.
Number 5. Go for it, Earl. You're first.
All right. Number 5. I'll just go straight to Have You Ever? No, I Never. That was the 4 wide Talladega, right?
Hold on.
That was Busch Craven.
Yeah, Have You Ever? No, I've never. Obviously is one of the biggest of all time due to the fact that people reference it nonstop in eternity.
Yeah.
Can you guys still see me?
I can see you.
Okay.
I can also see a big black screen where half that game's intro almost played.
Yeah, we'll just continue. I'll figure that out.
Yeah, that would be Busch and Craven. That would be like that epic photo finish.
Well, that definitely goes higher than 5. I'm thinking of
Yeah.
When you say "have you ever," are you talking that one or one of the other 15 times they said it?
That's
I
fair.
guess that's what I mean. Really, is I confuse it with the 4 wide finish that Jimmy won, and they say,
Yeah.
we got him by an inch, and then he's like, oh, okay, 1/16 of an inch.
Yeah.
I believe that's that race.
They did it at Atlanta too, or some version of it, right?
It might have
Like
been
this year.
Yeah, that they did that, and I almost want to say they said that. No, they didn't say it then because it happened before.
All right, I got to fix.
I was going to say
then.
Harvick Gordon at Atlanta, but that was precursor.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I can't even remember that call, but I'm sure it was a good one. I know everything.
I'm pretty sure
after
Bestwick was on that crew, right? No, Bestwick worked for NBC.
Yeah, no, it'd be a Fox
we all know
call.
what number 1 is. So.
Yeah.
No, okay. So I gotta fix for this though. So Larry Mack and DW calling close finishes. That's number 5, right there.
All right.
Okay, just as a general, bracket. Oh, my world just shut off. There we go.
Yeah, I would say that that's probably true because I feel like we have 4 other ones that aren't Daryl and Larry specifically together that can fill out the rest of the bracket. So I'd say that's fair.
Yeah. Hey, that's what we did with our last top 5.
All right, number 4.
4 times a little upset. I guess they thought you got into him, I guess. He's treated different than everybody else.
Cory, you're up.
See here, I think I have 3 calls, so I think I need to find the one that doesn't quite fit. I'm going to say 4 would be the move over Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt. There's another 7-time champion.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
It's definitely because I can think of for sure 2 others that go higher for me, maybe, and probably a third.
But it definitely deserves to be on the list.
Exactly, It deserves to be there though.
Yeah, it would have made a good number 5. As far as how logical it is, but I think it's better at 4. Honestly, it's because Jimmy Johnson winning 7 championships. I remember where I was. How surprised I was.
Here, hold on. I'll just work out. Do I get one more turn? I think I get one more.
You can have number 3 if
eventually
you
we'll
want.
have to all tag team it. Yeah.
Okay. I think out of bias, I have to bring up one more.
Is this number 3?
19. It could be number 3.
A tribute to the man in black, Dale Earnhardt, on the 3rd lap of the race.
So I forget exactly the phrasing, but the 1994, the inaugural Brickyard 400, years from now when we've run 79 stock car races at the Brickyard, people will remember the name Jeff Gordon, winner of the inaugural.
Yeah, I hate you because you just
I think that was
my
for
next 2 picks.
All right, I'll let you guys have the rest of them. I actually thought that one would not get mentioned if I didn't mention it now.
Well, I would say cool. I'll do number 2, except for you took other than what we all probably agree is on number 1. I don't have number 2 now because you took all of them. Thanks a lot.
Okay. I think I could do number 2 as long as we're thinking of the right number 1, which will work because
it's 2.
I'm so curious.
And now for your number pleasure,
If
2
the next-
tubas in, 2 twos, tap dancing.
I'm so curious to see how much our minds converged on this.
Yeah, I don't know. And the order I put it in too. So if there's a third one that either of you are thinking of that I don't include here, that's going to be interesting enough because we left something iconic out of the whole 5. So I would say number 2 by default out of the last 2 is 20 years of trying, 20 years of failure. He's finally going to do it. Dale Earnhardt's going to come around, take the caution, checkered flag, and the white flag, I think, and the caution is what it is. But I believe that one. Dale Earnhardt Sr. winning the Daytona 500 in 1998.
So now I'm confused because that was going to be my number 1, but now I think I have a better number 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew what number 1 was the minute you said this.
I'm excited and a little nervous.
So we can all go independently, and then we can just agree on what is actually number one based on that. So let's know number one.
He was number one.
All right, Cory, you go first.
I'll go first because I never gotten to put one in yet because you guys steal them all.
Oh, yeah, Derek goes first.
Okay. I'm going to go with Ross Chastain did a video game move. It was a last lap.
Oh.
Wasn't for the win.
Too old school.
Was it for like 7th? Or more importantly, it was for like 15th. It was from 15th to 7th or something like that.
Either way, you passed 5 cars in a corner at Martinsville. That was insane.
Yeah. It's
one of those clips, you get tired of seeing the same clip over and over again. I don't get tired of seeing that. It doesn't even make sense. It's wild to me.
Yeah. And, we've all done it. Like, we've been seeing that same clip since like 2004. Like, it was in our hands.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's a good number one. I don't know.
And he actually did it, unlike the pass in the grass. That clip, I'm tired of seeing.
Yeah. That's like, if it was, we would refer to it as like a misnomer if it was like a name, because it's not accurate. It was a block in the grass, or they kind of took up the same real estate and had a little wiggle and went through the grass a tiny bit and kept going. But that doesn't sound as good.
Another one is when Edwards tried a video game move on Jimmy Johnson, I believe at Kansas or Texas, and he dove underneath, but it didn't work. So I always hated when they said video game move, because in a video game that would have worked.
So what do you got, Cory? Cory, what do you got for your number one?
For mine, I think it would be, I can only remember the briefest part of the call, but it's the using lessons learned from his father. Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins at Daytona.
I missed that.
That one I still get emotional hearing, and not obviously plenty of respect for him, but like, especially then, it didn't mean, as a human being, Dale Jr. didn't mean that much to me for that call to mean so much to me.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same way. That's the number one I was thinking of, because every time I hear it, like, again, I hate it on Junior. I'll admit it. Like, I was a dumb kid, and I was like, fuck this guy, and
it was 3 years.
You watch that now, and you appreciate everything that happened and all that stuff, and then Alan Bestwick just at the top of his lungs, like, coming out of turn 4, and it's just amazing. It's amazing.
It's weird that you guys get emotional over that. I have this weird thing that happens, okay? So when something either like dramatic or scary happens, a lot of times like my wiener will shrivel up and it'll like tuck in like a weird belly button. I don't know.
Didn't mean to really turn around, meant to rattle his cage over.
No, okay.
I was gonna say maybe you're just a little. Yeah, maybe you're a little dead inside, but there's something else going on inside. I'm not too sure I want to know what it is.
I think you have 2 problems. All right.
So what do you guys want? Do you guys want to talk about Bristol?
Yeah, well, Bristol was awesome. Bristol's easy to talk about, right? So tell me what it was. What made it an amazing race? What
Well, to me, if you're asking me, I would say I went into Bristol the same way I went into Atlanta. I watched the Atlanta truck race. I watched the Atlanta Xfinity race, both of which were lackluster. Went to the Cup race expecting much of the same, looking forward to taking a nap. And then obviously we know the greatness of that race. Bristol was kind of the same way. It's typically, a strategy race that kind of not much excitement happens till the final stage. Admittedly, like I said, I missed the beginning, but I only missed maybe 10 laps. I tuned it in and, we got like 3 wide and like crazy runs happening. And I'm like, what the hell am I watching? This is almost like Atlanta again. And then I was hooked the whole race, especially when like lap 30 or 40 hit. And then like you talk about comers and goers. There was comers and goers. We asked for tire wear, and boy did we get it. And I think the impeccable thing about it was not only was there a lot of tire wear, probably too much tire wear. Like truthfully, like I wouldn't want that every week. If they dialed that back 15%, where you lost like maybe a majority of that overall speed at the end of your run, but you didn't actually have the tires blow off the car. And then, I think that would make the race, that would have made the race perfect. The tires blowing obviously made it somewhat of a nuisance, but the fact that there wasn't a million wrecks and cautions due to it, like, that's what made it a good race. Like, the strategy actually got to play out. There was like a couple fuel cycles without, bringing out a caution. So you got to see like Barry at the end pit because he just absolutely needed to, and then like he was up front, and if a caution would have came out then, that could have played out crazy for him, where they all got to pit and put new tires on. So ultimately, I think it was just a crazy strategy race. It showed who could manage tires, who obviously has been around to experience such things. So I would say I'd give Bristol at least a solid 8. Exceeded my expectations in a weird, erotic way.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way of putting it. Like you talked about with the green flag cycle. I imagine statistically, that's a hard statistic to find. When's the last time we had a green flag pit cycle at Bristol in the last 100 laps, or ever? Like,
if you're looking for
we don't do green
factual
flag pit stuff.
information, you're in the wrong podcast.
Yeah, none of us even watched the first 10 laps.
Yeah.
Tell me what you thought about it, Cory. All that tire fall off, all the tires blowing out.
It was awesome. Like it does, like we've all heard it plenty in the, little over 24 hours since that it played out like any race from the 80s or like short track racing to this day. The important thing, Derek pretty much hit on it, was that it's like we would watch the tires fall off in pace. It would be ideal if they didn't literally fall off the car, but like it's very, very close. Like again, like the track, the tire performed as it was expected to, so the track didn't take the rubber that it was when they tested the tire. So whatever caused that, if you sort that out, I think, they ended up having just enough tires to make it all work, and it created excitement. So like maybe just a little less fall off, but at the same time, it's what we're asking for. So we don't, see other series introduced multiple compounds to make it more artificially. So, you can't hate on, makers can't be choosers to an extent, but it should be refined. But it was a very good product though. Yeah.
Yeah. 2 big races this year. That Atlanta race went over pretty well too. Having a good season so far. So, one of the big most notable things for me throughout the race, because like we all just already admitted, I put a TV in my living room for the first time and sat down on my couch for the first time in my living room to watch a race and immediately fell asleep. Like I watched the DW like intro thing, and then I fell asleep, and I woke up at stage 3. The green flag is stage 3. Like, what the fuck's going on? And they're talking about 40 lap runs, and Ty Gibbs was dominating. And then he would just lose the lead and then take it back, and then lose the lead and then take it back. So the Toyotas, though, huh?
Them damn Toyotas, those damn Yodas.
Them damn Toyotas, them cheating Yoders. For real, I mean, how long we're gonna have to put up with that, though?
Hey, I'd hate to say it, but on episode 1, there was a gentleman with a glorious, glorious eyes that said it's going to be a hot Joe Gibbs summer, and, well, he's looking about right. The only thing he's been right on all year, but smart dude.
Yeah. Hey, you got that one pick, right?
Yeah.
I got the all the other picks, basically.
So do you guys think it was... Do you guys think it is the track or the resin on the track, the tire, the car? What was the variable? Temperature? What do you think caused like the insane tire wear? Because Ryan Blaney said, there we go again. Ryan Blaney said on his podcast that
where's the podcast recap show?
The tires were supposedly the same tire they ran last year. I'm assuming not on dirt. I'm assuming he's talking about the fall, but if that's the case, tires shouldn't have worn that extreme compared to last year. Do you think it was the resin, the temperature, the way they're setting up the car? I can't imagine everyone setting up their car that wild. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I personally think it's 2 things. I think that the tire fall off came from the resin instead of PJ1. And I only say that like I'm not some like smart guy. I think Goodyear said that when they put out their little mid-race press release about it, And then the track didn't take rubber because it was so cold out. I think it was overcast and the temperature continued to drop throughout the night. And I feel like I heard again Mike Joy. I'm just getting this from Mike Joy. The track just doesn't take rubber when it's cold as well as it does on a hot day. As far as it staying, in the surface and not just, ripping off and piling up. But that's at least how I saw it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, the reason temperature was the reason they didn't use PJ1, right?
Yeah, temperature,
that's why they won't.
The precipitation risk.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, like then because PJ1 is kind of usually the default option there, but
yeah,
I definitely don't think it was exclusively setup. Like setup, you can mitigate some of those issues with a more conservative setup, but you're not gonna do away with it.
Yeah, I mean, I could see what they were thinking too. I don't know if they knew the tires were going to fall off like that, but personally, when I hear that they used resin at when they were using it at Phoenix, when they were using it at New Hampshire, I feel like it put on a better race than PJ1, and PJ1 sort of exclusively works the best at Bristol, and not really anywhere else when they were using it. So I can see kind of where we were thinking maybe that resin was going to work there too.
Mm-hmm.
But,
no, I agree. And back to the setup talk, I believe it was Kevin Harvick mentioned that teams like Rick Ware, in teams of the such, typically are less aggressive on like front end geometry and cambers, and that was probably what was allowing them to do those longer runs and get up into the top 5, which was wild to see. So we had kind of like an inverted field to an extent. I mean, you had your mainstays like Hamlin and Truex and them, but you also had Haley, Kazgrala, John Hunter Nemechek, Alex Bowman, people like that lingering in the top 10 most of the day, which was like Earl had mentioned earlier off the show that he fell asleep early with his new TV and his new couch. And those guys were in the top 10, and then he woke up at stage 3 and they're still in the top 10, which would be cause for concern most weeks. But the thing that made me a hair nervous having those guys in the top 10 is John Hunter Nemechek almost looked like a real factor. He was bound to screw it up if he didn't fall out anyways. But I wasn't that nervous, but I was getting a hair nervous that I was gonna have to drink that Busch dog brew on the show this week.
You're gonna have to drink the Busch dog brew. Like, it was such a bad bet statistically. Like, John Hunter Nemechek has so many more races ahead of him than Jimmy Johnson, and Jimmy Johnson can't even get past lap 5 anytime he races. So, yeah.
I don't know if that...
As much as I want him to succeed, I will happily drink that if Jimmy, it'll be a happy day if Jimmy did it. But
where do you stand on this, Cory? I don't know if you've heard their bet, but our bet is that Jimmy Johnson will win this year before John Hunter Nemechek will win this year. Where do we stand?
I don't believe Jimmy will do it. I just don't think he's going to. Like, how many races does he have this year? Like, I'll admit I don't really know his schedule.
6 or 8, I think. Nobody knows.
Okay, so
we don't know that.
We're prepared.
Yeah.
So I guess this begs the question of how many races does he? How many of those are at Charlotte, Dover, or Martinsville?
All of them.
I do think those are all in there. Martinsville, I don't know
he's
for
running
sure.
for Texas,
but I know he's running Charlotte,
too.
Texas, and Dover.
And I think this.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Jimmy might win then. Because that's where it's where about 52% of his wins are anyway. So I wouldn't be surprised if he adds 1 or 2 more.
Yeah.
I think we both came to conclusion. We don't think either one of them will actually win, but it's like if one of them did win, which one would do it? I just don't see John Hunter doing it.
How do you feel about Eric Jones?
Yeah, Eric Jones will win.
Because they're legacy teammates. So Eric Jones should be the tiebreaker. If Eric Jones wins first, nobody drinks the fucking disgusting dog beer.
No, I want you to drink that beer.
I think
I was trying to help you. I mean,
Trying to diffuse the situation a little bit.
yeah, just trying to diffuse the situation.
Yeah.
Eric Jones could
Step
totally
off that
win.
ledge, man. You're just like trying to drink that beer at this point. You know?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think Eric
Jones will get a win in performance.
Yeah,
I
think
would
so. I'd say
yeah,
he
that's
wins
why it
this
was an
year.
easy out.
Yeah, I don't want to. I want to see you throw up. It's an expired dog beer, dude. It's chicken broth
It's not
and
actually
Busch
a dog
can.
beer.
Well, that makes it sound kind of good, actually.
Yeah, expired in
Busch
Busch broth
2018.
tastes good forever.
That's a lot less good then.
So,
all right. So what else happened at Bristol? What else
so
are you
I
excited
got three other topics for you, Earl and Cory now.
Yeah. Hit me.
Alex Bowman. I'm going to argue this might hurt Cory's feelings a hair, but I feel like he's mature enough to handle it. Alex
He's a
Bowman.
realist. He has to know these things are true.
Alex Bowman. Again, no statistics are proving this statement. Alex Bowman, I'm going to say, is the most consistent Hendrick car in the group. He doesn't win. He doesn't finish 30th. He runs 12th literally the whole race every week, and occasionally will finish in the top 5, no worse than 15th. As where you got Larson and Byron, they'll get trash bags on the car or all kinds of bullshit that either one of them have. They'll win a lot of races, but they could win this week and be 32nd the next week. Bowman, you can guarantee like a 9.2 average every race. And I'm going to go one step further with that. He is now number 3 on the week-to-week Hendrick roster, bumping Chase Elliott to number 4. Thoughts?
Hot take.
I think consistency wise, you're right. Like, because Byron and Larson are hot or they're not for the most part. I'm sure stats would say no, they actually finish in the top 5 all the time. What are you talking about? But it does seem like they're either winning or they are having a bad day. Bowman is usually somewhere there in the teens, and then like muscles out like about a top 10 finish almost every week, it seems like. And Chase hasn't figured it out since he came back, it seems like. But I think it's important for people to remember that he did win the most races and the regular season title in the first year of the next gen car. And I think he's just insanely out of a rhythm right now. But until when everyone was feeling out right now, I think that was his 3rd top 10 finish at Bristol on concrete. And he did it again. And had he not had, I actually have a note on this too, because I knew a Chase thing would come up. Let me see this here real quick. Oh God, who knows where I have it though? But
wait, did you just write it down for the hell of it or for the show?
Oh no, I took this seriously. You can't just be on the pole and half-ass it more than they half-ass it. But yeah, so obviously Chase was one of those dudes. He was the first person that actually made it look like the high side was going to work all day. And when he went up and took the lead, which is the first time he's gone up and taken the lead in a season, and then fell back when everyone started to have that first time when we really saw how the tires were breaking down. He ended up falling back. I think maybe the first run was okay, but he fell back to around 15th, 20th. Then kind of stayed there, and then tires fell off again. He fell to 30th on lap. This is from Bob Hockris. On lap 311, he was back in 30th. And then he came back to finish 8th through figuring out how to actually manage the tires. And that's not something that's he was the one that's been quoted this week as saying he's never seen it in his entire life, which is making people feel old because we grew up watching it. But yeah, Chase, he's still missing something. Obviously, it reminds me of Gordon missing something for the entirety of his 30s. But when he turned it back on, he turned it right back on again. He was better at 42 than he was at any point in his 30s. Besides that one race at Atlanta with Jimmy. So it's a matter of car and tire and how it gels with drivers in some cases. And it seems like Chase he might actually be good with a tire that falls off a lot, because so much of especially last year in the next gen car is these drivers just hanging it pretty much wide open. They all have the same marks. They just go. And Chase, if he has like one like fundamental weakness he's proven through his whole career, it's that he has a hard time passing cars that are difficult to pass. And when they all are pretty much running the exact same setup and there is no like massive skill differential, he's just not going to move. Lost the AirPod. Be right back.
I lost my
that was a
camera
good run
on.
for Chase, though. You know, for all, this podcast, we have a history of putting Chase down, and I agree with Derek. Chase is the fourth Hendrick driver, but that's still probably fourth best in NASCAR. You could say.
Yeah,
he can still come out of nowhere and win races, but it's just a tough competition at that team.
Yeah, I think there's like I said, like the cars are like all the same and they all are different, but it doesn't necessarily, like, you hear this in like F1 conversations a lot. It's like, oh, who would win between these drivers? You put them in the same car. Whose car are you putting them in? Because it matters. Like, if you put someone in a car that is like that handles a certain way, then you're going to have a driver that is better at it. It doesn't matter if the cars are equal because the drivers have different styles. And again, Gordon through his 30s, the car was not what Gordon drove, but it got back to that way. And as long as, like, if NASCAR gets the right tire and car combination, you never know who's really going to turn up at what track. But yeah, no, Chase right now is the fourth Hendrick car, in short. I wouldn't write him off, though. He's a talented driver, and he didn't ask for the reputation he got; it was given to him. So, like, I think some people kind of need to. Yeah, I think some people kind of need to calm down on the Chase hate, but yeah.
20 years from now, we'll be sitting here talking about, man, I really respect Chase Elliott. I wasn't a fan of Chase Elliott, but I respect him. And I really love when he won his first race and he crossed the line and a tear came to my eye, I was actually there for it too, so I can totally co-opt that story, after the heat cools down on him.
My friend Cody, I think you guys probably both know him too, but he sent me a picture after Chase's first win, and it was Chase's entire pit crew flipping me off. he was like, "Hey, my friend Cory's a big Chase fan. Smile," and they all just flipped off the camera.
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
One driver that comes to mind, Cory, when you were talking about someone who needs a car probably with fall off to really show his true talent, would be Kyle Busch. And it was yet another week. We're looking forward. We're not looking forward. We hope it doesn't happen. The Kyle Busch nuclear meltdown. Another bad week. 2 horrible weeks in a row.
Can't wait for it to happen.
It's bound to happen unless something miraculously turns around. He had speed, but the race just fell apart. He ran over his pit crew, spun out, drove backwards, got out of the car directly after the race and just went straight to the tunnel and left. No interview, no nothing. So it's coming. What do you guys think of Kyle Busch and the way the season has started for him? Do you think this is the beginning of the end? Is he going into Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick kind of ending, or do you think he'll be able to turn it around?
Well, we'll never know because he drives an RCR car. You just never know when the equipment's going to fall off, right? But also, he lost to Christian Eckes on Friday or Saturday or something. So, jury's out, but it's not looking good, right?
Is an RCR car? I mean, I understand that it's not a Hendrick car, a Gibbs car, but I mean, Kevin Harvick made a pretty big name for himself for years in an RCR car. He won multiple races in a year. He was.
You ready to feel old? That was 10 years ago. 11.
Dale Earnhardt made a name for himself in an RCR car. There's no reason Kyle Busch can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, if Ricky Rudd can run good in an RCR car.
Richard Childress did pretty well in an RCR car.
Who do you think would win in the fist fight between Richard Childress and Kyle Busch?
I think that already happened.
Yeah, we know the answer, right?
Oh, is that who he fought?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't. Who do you think would win now?
He punched him. They didn't fight. He just punched him.
Yeah, I remembered that happening. I forgot it was Kyle that it was, though.
Yeah.
And it's easy to forget because no one got it on camera.
I still don't believe that.
I don't know. They both kind of have corroborated that story at this point. Pretty sure that happened.
I don't know. Like I would love to see Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch is one of those guys. So that's the Dale Jr. That's the later in life Chase Elliott. That's the Darrell Waltrip. I mean, everyone that is anyone goes through the phase of being hated and then or loved, hated, and then inevitably loved. Kyle Busch, like we saw it a couple times last year with a few wins. Like now you want to see Kyle Busch do well. It's probably deep down inside you know that he will never be like champion good, but you like to see him win a couple times a year.
Yeah. I mean, that's at least how I feel about it, right? Like, I always respected what Kyle Busch was doing and how much he won. So when he won, you knew the right person won. You know, I'd like to see him go back.
Yeah, and like, I mean, Kyle Busch has also proven that like you don't really need to run a whole season to win a championship. So like, if he say has 11 write-offs, he can still win a championship. He just got to get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I was there for that. You were there for Chase's first win. I was there for Busch winning a championship he didn't even participate in.
Participate in. These playoff concepts are so hard to live with sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I hate? Derek and I talk about this sometimes. When someone asks you, like, who do you think is going to win the championship this year? Like, I have a reflex that's a topic I want to talk about, and then I immediately realize, like, well, who fucking knows? It's fucking one race. Like,
I can't even tell you who's going to make it, let alone who's going to be good that day.
Yeah.
At
Phoenix of all tracks.
Yeah, at Phoenix. Which doesn't even seem consistent. Like, from, like, you know, Harvick, back in the day, Harvick would, like, dominate Phoenix, but then it was like, who's good at Phoenix? Because every time they show up, it's a different package or a different tire, and it's a different winner, and it's like we just don't have a clue anymore.
Yeah. Like, the day's going to come where Alex Bowman dominates the championship race and wins the championship.
Yeah, after hardly making it there.
Yeah.
So one more topic before we head into picks and head on into our beds. Speaking of Phoenix, last year, Ross Chastain, Ryan Blaney had a spirited battle, a clean, aggressive battle. And that was the birth, I as far as I know, again, we're not factual, of this little rivalry feud between Ross Chastain and Ryan Blaney. And it's kind of continued in interviews and on-track things. And then this week, Ross got into Blaney a little bit. Nothing crucial. I mean, it just kind of bumped. I think Blaney was kind of falling off on tires, and Ross kind of muscled his way through, and they kept rolling. But Blaney had somewhat of a snippy interview post race. If we were any kind of good, we would have that interview. But he essentially said he didn't really want to talk about why every week do you guys ask me about Ross Chastain, essentially. Do you guys think this is something that's going to develop throughout the year, or do you think it's a non-issue?
I guess it would help if I saw the interview.
Yeah, like I said, we're not that kind of prepared.
Yeah.
They could have just said,
short track race.
It was that, but it was Ryan Blaney. Yeah.
I think it's like there's so much that obviously we try to derive from like driver interactions. I don't even think they think about it as much as like people like Alan Bester. Who's the NBC dude?
Rick Allen?
Rick Allen. Rick Allen's always like the not anymore. But Rick Allen's always like, they have history. And it's like, we know, okay. Like it's fine. Don't worry about it. like we want the conflicts, and I'm sure they're there to an extent, but like so many drivers, when they put a helmet on, everyone is their like arch nemesis. So like we don't need to make more of it personally, because they probably don't even think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't think this Blaney Chastain thing is as big of a deal as it seems. But but I do think that the rivalries get in the drivers' heads, and Chastain's an example of that. Like there was a reason Chastain was just finding everybody that one year and getting in a rivalry with everybody, and then eventually it ended up turning into, Denny Hamlin, Chastain kind of thing. But I think that Ross is going to will that rivalry into existence. Like he's going to find Blaney on track and he's just going to fuck up and keep, like you wouldn't think that would happen, but it just seems like the Ross Chastain kind of thing to do, to just continue to accidentally run into the same guy. And then eventually Blaney has to do something about it or else he doesn't look tough. I think that thing will develop. I just don't think there's anything to it yet.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, I think it will develop to an extent because you got Ryan Blaney, who's a pretty even-keeled guy until he's in the race, and we've all heard the audio clips over the radio. He can get pretty fiery and lose his composure sometimes, and then Ross kind of just blacks out. So I don't even know if he knows he does some of the stuff he does. With that combination, that's bound to cause something down the road, I'm sure. And they're going to be around each other. They're both like an 8th to 12th place car pretty consistently. So they're going to be around each other enough where I feel like something more major will happen that will cause something good, hopefully.
It'll be entertaining. I can tell you that.
Sure.
Like Ross Chastain will entertain you for the rest of the season.
For the rest of our lives. We'll be looking back 20 years from now, crying. A little teardrop will hit us that time that he won at COTA.
Well, that leads us into picks, right?
Is that a segue?
Before picks, does anybody have any quotes?
Oh, well, you took one of my quotes.
What is
already with Ryan Blaney said, "I'm tired of you asking me Ross questions." No thanks. That was the quote.
Well, I got
one more though.
Okay,
I got one more after that.
We'll get to it.
What did he say?
I'm coming. Oh, never mind.
What did he say?
McMurray got pounded.
What did he say?
I haven't seen this much adolescent bumping and grinding since the prom.
I like how Earl's like taking notes like a crew chief right now. He's just like in his notepad. We're just like, ooh.
That was fine. I mean, you guys were here for the rest of the episode. No amount of writing all this down led to any more organizational
I can't even tell you
or anything.
I can't tell you how few of my notes I've used.
Yeah. I keep looking down because it was all in a different notebook, and I was looking at the wrong notebook.
Do you have?
I was looking at last year's notebook from the Gen 6 car.
It's like, oh, that's a grocery list. That's not right.
Yeah, but I mean, I swear to God, I'm gonna eat so many chili dogs when I'm off this podcast. That's for damn sure.
Tampons, garbage bags, I don't know. Do you have any quotes or Cory?
The only quote, it's not as like funny or anything as I think maybe some of these quotes should be, but I do distinctly remember like Larson saying that he would like to pretty much never race a race like that again. Whereas so many drivers seemed like they loved it, but Larson was not one of them.
He said he didn't mind it. He just never wants to do it again.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it a whole lot better.
Yeah, that was the PR answer. He's out of the car and he was like, "Did the fans like it? What do I say?"
Mm-hmm.
So what we'll do, since we got a weird three-way for the first time, and we're just still trying to figure out like who goes where and what fits in what. So every week we try to gather 3 quotes. We've never successfully done it to play this game. It's kind of like almost like an out of context or like surprising quote, and the other tries to guess it. So since you're the middleman, the meat and the sandwich here, me and Earl will share our quotes to you, and you can try to guess who said it. How's that? But for next week, bring your own. It's war. So I'll start this thing off with a quote that's, marbles are freaking wild. He's either stoned or he's talking about Bristol.
Is it Chase?
It is Chase Elliott. Again, I don't have a sounder for correct or wrong.
Yeah, I think that's like the beginning. I think that's the beginning of the quote I referenced earlier. So that's like the only.
So long standing up.
Wow. Yeah.
Do I bow?
Like Nobel Prize winning applause.
There's 15 more seconds.
Did you say 15 more seconds?
I have you guys know that I put my arms out and you can't see them, but I'm still in character.
He lives for the applause.
More applause than my band ever got.
I mean, you should be so proud to get such a long ovation.
I mean, I'll take it. What's this next one I can get wrong?
All right, Earl, what do you got, buddy?
All right, this should be an easy one.
Chief.
He can slam it in my rear all he wants. It isn't going to change anything. This is NASCAR. You know, happened during the race. This is just how sports are nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of rear ramming. I don't know, man. I didn't hear it. I don't even think I have a guess. I guess I have it's a 1 in 37 chance or 36 chance, but
Oh no, it's so easy.
Hold on, let me take a stab at it if Cory doesn't know.
Right.
What was the quote one more time?
He can slam it in my rear all he wants. It isn't going to change anything. And it's not really a 1 in 37 chance, you know?
Was it me?
No.
All right, for real. Let me stay here.
I think honestly, you probably said that one of many nights. Not Bristol.
Yeah, I mean, you have said those words.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna say Denny Hamlin.
That's a good guess. Definitely a contextual guess. You got a lot of evidence backing that up. Alleged evidence. Alleged evidence that was hush moneyed away. No, it's not Denny Hamlin. It was Clint Boyer on the broadcast. He was
back to back.
Yeah.
I should listen to him more.
Yeah, he was just talking about one driver hitting another driver, and you know how Clint will animate and be like, "What he's saying in the car right now is," because he's just the second coming of DW.
A second coming.
Denny, Clint Boyer is kind of he reenacts the race the same way I contextualize what my dog is saying. I'll often be like,
that's a good way of putting it.
Oh yeah, he really thinks this. That's what Clint Boyer does, but for NASCAR, it's great.
Clint is a really good name for a dog. I probably knew more dog Clints than human Clints.
That was damn near throw up.
Had too many raw slights over there.
I guess. So my last quote isn't really that funny, to be fair, and literally anyone could have said it. So good luck guessing it. It's that was the craziest race I've ever been a part of.
I actually remember this quote happening.
Yeah, me too.
Either that or they all
I
said
have
it.
a 1 in 3 chance.
Damn. What's your guess, Earl?
All right.
I was gonna waste a bunch of airtime thinking about it.
Yeah, I'll go with Martin Truex Jr. I feel like I heard it during the. Okay.
You're wrong. He might. He
I
probably
definitely
also
feel
said it.
I definitely feel
think
like I
they all
heard it during
said
the
it.
post-race interviews, and so
Was it-
one of the top 3 finishers said that.
Was it Josh Berry?
It was Josh Berry.
Wrong. Big time wrong. Flowers and roses. Champagne.
Right,
you canceled. We canceled the crowd. Yeah.
All right, so we'll go into picks. Earl, since you're 2 out of 4 time champion, A lot of air.
Are you wind?
That was his frustration put into sound.
So here's what we decided is like Earl is the factual predictor,
Okay.
also the pulsator.
So you do?
Like he'll give you a pick that probably will actually win the race, and then I usually pick
Good reliable
someone
pick.
that is like probably won't win the race. So that's our strategy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he's gonna be right, you gotta pick someone else. You're not gonna beat him if you just do the same thing.
So
Yeah,
Earl
you
gets to
can't
go last,
totally-
and he cannot pick the same driver we picked. So fuck him.
Oh, okay.
Deal.
Okay. So Earl, Cory, you're first. You're the new guy. You're third in ranking.
COTA is an interesting one. History obviously wants to tell you someone like Chase. It's been a while since Truex has really been that great at road courses, and COTA hasn't really been one of them. Chastain obviously has that one win. Bowman's been in the mix as well, but I think it's hard to say no to Reddick. So I think I would take Tyler Reddick. He's been great since they haven't had to actually use a clutch. Or not use a clutch, but use like H-pattern shifting. He's great with that sequential.
Yeah.
I was actually going to pick Tyler Reddick, but I will not
I was gonna
now
pick
because
Tyler
I
Reddick, too.
can't. But
What
I
an
will
obvious-
go.
Oh man, he's gonna win the race for sure.
I'm gonna go again off the radar, but also totally a legitimate pick. I'm gonna go with SVG Shane Van Gisbergen in the 16
Okay.
I
Colorado.
appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I appreciate that pick.
You're never gonna believe me, but there it is. 1, 2. Those were my two. Like
Those
when
are
you
your
told
two?
me I had to go last, those were the two people. But now I get to make a feel good pick of my own and pick Daniel Suarez.
Okay.
Yeah.
Darling.
Gonna win his second race of the year. He qualified up front last year. He qualified second, passed Blaney on like the second lap, and dominated the whole first stage. And then Cory LaJoie, Chastained him, and and you didn't hear from him for the rest of the race. So I think he'll run up front and he'll be strong.
I think there's probably nothing I would like to see more than a Suarez win at COTA, because it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the closest thing he's going to have to a home race.
Yeah, I don't remember if they talked about it on the broadcast or not because COTA's a semi-new track. But Phoenix was the one that was supposed to be.
Oh,
closest,
that makes
but
sense
I think,
too. Yeah.
I can't remember if COTA's closer since it got added, because COTA's only the last couple of years. Suarez has been around since 2017, 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not a geologist, obviously, but I thought,
just to let you know, geologists know about rocks. They don't know about location.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Geographer.
Geographer.
Yeah. So what I was thinking was,
I enjoyed that.
I'm gonna read
I'm
that
sorry.
book.
I was gonna
Gonna
play
read
a rock. I was gonna play the rock clip, but I can't find it. So what I was
Totally
thinking
got good
was,
geologist. We
I
ruined it.
know. I suck at being producer.
The world shut off. Again.
I was thinking that Mexico is Canada. I was like, Cory, you're totally wrong. That's like total opposite side of the country. But yeah, those
Speaking
are
of
all
Canada,
very.
though, Montreal. I know it's rumored. I really, really want to see some Cup cars in Montreal. It's one of my favorite tracks that, like, obviously F1 races there obviously currently, and Xfinity raced there for years, and it's a phenomenal track. It's a really fun one to drive in any game or sim that you put it in. Obviously, it's not next week, but hopefully it's next year or down the road.
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
All the old Busch series races were good in Montreal.
Was that the race where Cole Custer like speared John Hunter Nemechek on the front stretch in the truck race?
No, that was Canadian Tire.
Yeah, it's certainly possible though.
Yeah, at every single truck race, except for I think one, there was a last lap like feud or brawl, or somebody moved somebody, because I'm sure Gregson has done it. Ty Dillon tried to do it and failed. There's a whole bunch of them.
I think even Chase may have done it in trucks or something.
Did you say there was a Dillon that tried to do something and failed?
Yeah, Ty Dillon, I think, got by Ryan Blaney. No, you're right. It was Chase Elliott moved Ty Dillon.
Yeah, I think it was Chasing Ty.
To win his Canadian Tire race. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Earl,
NASCAR's
take us
probably gonna
out.
go for that track with all the last lap finishes.
Earl, if you want to take us out next week, Earl will not be here with us. Cory will be my replacement. I will become the pulsator. So,
Sater.
What an interesting development.
yeah, you're
He's the
fired.
Rocket Man.
All right, guys.
Yeah, I won't be here next week, but I hope
Where
you
you-
guys have fun, and I'll obviously listen to the show.
What are you going to be doing?
I'm going on vacation. Going to Alabama. Going to
Why?
Pittsburgh. Going to Erie. My wife's from Alabama. We're just going down to see some family. Yeah.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
allow it.
But there's a really nice bird museum. They're called aviaries. In Pittsburgh, we're going to go see see all the birds in Pittsburgh. We've got bird people. I'm a bird person.
I like birds.
Bird
I
people?
had birds. They died in a week. I do love birds, though.
Yeah, you're a bird person. I get a bucket of bird in the drive-thru. Just out in buckets. Wild. All right, dude. Well, have safe travels. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks. You're welcome to join next week if you're not doing anything, but I don't expect you to waste your time here on your vacation. So next week, we will be doing this without our producer, Earl. So,
Yeah.
peace.